In this video, we're going to look at standard A.6A, which says the student is expected to determine the domain and range of quadratic functions and represent the domain and range using inequalities. First, I would like to share with you some information that comes from the TEA Mathematics TEAC supporting information for Algebra 1. There are a couple of statements in that document that I want to share with you. The first statement is that inequalities may be expressed verbally. The second statement is that quadratic functions may be represented as relations, graphs, or equations. Let's look at a released item from the 2016 Algebra 1 STAR test that is aligned to this standard. The problem says the table shows some ordered pairs that belong to quadratic function h, and we're given a table of values. What is the range of h? So first thing to notice is that all of our answer choices are presented verbally. So I think it's important when teaching this standard that you have your students express the domain and range using inequalities, but also expressing it verbally, because it can be presented either way on the STAR test. So all we are given are a table of values and just some of the values of the quadratic function h. So students, since there's no pictorial representation, may have a hard time visualizing or seeing this graph. Yes, students should know what a quadratic function looks like, but still this may be a little abstract for some students. One thing that we could do is use the graph paper that comes with the STAR test. So I just printed this graph paper from the TEA website, and then I drew an x and y axis, plotted the points that were given in the table of values, and then sketched the function based on those points. So this will help the students visualize the quadratic function. Another thing that you could have students do is just sketch. So here's a rough sketch. Again, I plotted the points that were given in the table of values and then connected them to make the function h. So here, the students can at least see what this quadratic function looks like. So let's go back to our answer choices. What is the range of h? Well, remember that the range means that we need to look at the y values for the function. So the y values are going to be the values here for h of x. So now let's look. For our answer choices, is the range all real numbers? And written like that symbolically would be y belongs to the set, or is a member of the set of real numbers. So looking at this, either one of our graphical representations that we sketched or drew, we can see that there are y values that extend in the positive direction, but the minimum or lowest point of that quadratic is at -8 for the y value. The lowest point in the quadratic is at 3, -8. There are no values sketched below that point of 3, -8. So therefore, it does not include all of real numbers. If it included all real numbers, then we would include everything in the negative direction and in the positive direction. All real numbers greater than or equal to -7. So written as an inequality, that would be y is greater than or equal to -7, and y belongs to the set of real numbers. So if we look at our pictorial representation, there is a value that's below -7, and that value is -8. We see that in our table of values as well. We have -7, but there's also a value of -8. -8 is below -7, and that value needs to be included in our range. Therefore, G is not the correct answer. All real numbers greater than or equal to -8. So I'm going to write that symbolically with an inequality. Y is greater than or equal to -8, and y belongs to the set of real numbers. So if we look at our graph, -8 is included, and all the values above -8 in the range are included because the quadratic does extend in up and never ends. So it's all values greater than or equal to -8. No values below -8 for the range are included. So this looks like it's going to be our correct answer. But let's just check answer choice J. All real numbers greater than or equal to 0. So as an inequality, that would be y is greater than or equal to 0, and y belongs to the set of real numbers. So we do have values below 0 that are graphed. We have -7 and -8 in the range. So that one is not true because we have values below 0 that need to be included. So the correct answer for this problem is H.